Look at what I did, look at what I started. Look how far I came, dog, I ain't have no guidance. I just did my thing, dog, I just went my hardest. And I'ma go hard regardless, yeah, I'ma go hard regardless, yeah. Ran in my check, I ran on my bag, I did what I did, yeah. Ran in my check, I ran on my bag, I did what I did, yeah.
Guys, I'm Landon from Shoeware, and today we're checking out the newly released Nike LeBron 9 Low in this Lebronold Palmer colorway that just kills me. Like, I think this is such a funny colorway name for a shoe. You can kind of see why it gets that, but if this is your first time checking us out, feel free to drop a follow or subscribe wherever you're watching and give this video a like. We would greatly appreciate that. So taking a quick look at the box and the price, the box is pretty simple with like a white base. You're gonna get some crimson and like orange LeBron touches on there too, but this is one of those like slide out boxes from the side, so instead of opening from the top or the front, I guess, you're gonna be able to pull that out. So it's still going to be a little bit different than what shoes typically come in. It's kind of the same thing that all of the shoes that are getting retroed from LeBron's line have been getting, like the LeBron 9 Big Bang. But, you know, as for pricing, these are going to retail for $200, lining up with the LeBron 19 right now. LeBrons have always been kind of expensive though. It's kind of been an expensive shoe line. I mean, at least since I've been checking them out. So if you're looking for something more budget friendly, you're not going to find that here. So checking out the appearance for these, I kind of have to hit on the colorway first because Lebronold Palmer is like one of the all-time great colorway names in my opinion. And I don't even really like LeBron all that much, but I just find these pretty funny. I mean, LeBron did debut some shoes back in 2012 whenever he was on the Heat that had like an Arnold Palmer, which is, you know, half lemonade, half iced tea for those who don't know. So I just think it's a pretty fun shoe with the kind of cool summer vibe to it. But I mean, as far as the look of the model itself, I am a fan of the LeBron 9 Low design. You're going to get the LeBron James signature on the tongue for both shoes. And pretty much all of his shoes, like in LeBron's line, you're going to have a spot where you can kind of see through the midsole and kind of see those cushioning units on his shoe. Not a lot of shoes really do that a ton, so I do think that's a cool touch to his, like, you know, shoe line itself. And then on the heel, you're going to get a patch with LeBron's logo on there. And I mean, for something that came out 10 years ago, I get that not all older shoes are going to look outdated, but this is just a pretty clean looking model. I know that Nike has been retroing some of the original LeBron 9s where, you know, you got the high top version, but I mean, I think the low top looks a lot better, at least in my opinion. But now let's go ahead and check out and see how these shoes hold up on the court. So now looking at more of the materials and the performance side, and starting off with the cushioning, the LeBron 9 Low gets a full-length air cushioning setup with some foam in the midsole to kind of provide a lasting comfort feel. And once again, LeBron's shoe line delivers another comfortable model. I mean, since I've been reviewing his shoes, which hasn't really been forever, I've only tested out the LeBron 18s, 19s, and now I'm checking out the 9s. But I mean, cushioning has been the selling point for LeBron's shoe on each year. So some of his shoes have kind of struggled in other categories like support, traction, stuff like that, but cushioning has always been solid. Even with his sub shoe line too, like the LeBron Witness models, they do pretty well for cushioning for a sub line, for a cheaper, you know, more budget friendly option. But comparing these to the 19s, they honestly stack up pretty similar, even though there just isn't as many cushioning features at play. The LeBron 9 Lows are pretty well balanced too. It doesn't really feel like, you know, there's any spots missing to give you a soft feel, and the break-in time was really minimal, if any at all. And then, like I was just touching on in the appearance section, most LeBrons give you kind of a window into the side of the shoe to see those cushioning units through the midsole. You can actually see them at work. So I mean, the LeBron 9 Low definitely qualifies as a comfortable shoe to play in, so that's nice. So now getting into the materials and the support, the upper on the LeBron 9 Low has like a combination of mesh and some textiles. It's somewhat tough to see from the photos and like the videos, but in hand you can see that mesh base, which is going to allow for some good airflow. And that is going to be paired with a more filled in overlay. And I mean, we are talking about a $200 shoe here, so these are going to feel pretty high quality. You can't always equate the retail price with the materials or like the quality of the materials, but you know, oftentimes you can, and these just don't feel cheap, so there's nothing to worry about there. And the support is going to be really solid, which is something that I kind of monitor on LeBron's line ever since the LeBron 18s. I mean, the 18s used like some type of like upper that allowed for just way too much movement. It was like some type of like knit weave or something like that. It's one of the few reviews that I've actually filmed in, and I actually rolled my ankle while I was recording in that review. So I mean, these do have a more stiff upper, which I do like. I think it plays a little better in my opinion. And there's even a little orange kind of like wing that's tied into the lacing system, and the laces actually feed through that, so tightening that just provides some additional lockdown. And I think that piece is actually pretty important, especially on low top shoes, because you don't really want your foot slipping out of the model. A lot of the time that can be fixed just by adding something to the lacing system, or at least putting something up around the heel. And the LeBron 9 Low is going to check the box for both of the materials and the support. But with all that said, one knock on LeBron's line is that they do kind of range on the heavier side. The LeBron 9 Low weighs 474 grams for a size 10.5, which isn't terrible. I mean, the LeBron 19s, they weigh 594 grams for the same size, which is like 100 grams heavier. It's like actually the heaviest shoe that I've ever played in. But I mean, 474, it's a little bit on the heavier side for a low top shoe, but I mean, not noticeably, so I'm not going to knock it here. To finish off with traction, these get somewhat of like a diamond pattern that also has some random designs kind of within that setup. And as much as I've liked the cushioning in LeBron's line, I'd say I've kind of disliked the traction about just as much. The shoe meets the very definition of inconsistent for me. Like, I tested them out on 3 different gyms, and in all 3 they performed about the same. Sometimes they let you come to a quick stop, but on multiple occasions I did find myself kind of sliding around. So as far as being sticky, I mean, they aren't really that. They do grip the floor well sometimes, so I can't just say they're all around a bad playing feel, but you're not going to get a consistently good feel, so I did at least kind of want you to know that. But to finish off with sizing, I went true to size, and that worked out perfect for me for both the length and for the width. So overall, the LeBron 9 Low is a pretty nice shoe to play in. My only real concern is going to be like the traction. That's the only thing that really bothered me, because aside from that, these play well and they look really clean too. I don't love the $200 retail price, but it is LeBron's line, so I mean, what are you going to do? Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. If you're interested in buying these shoes and you want to support our channel, just click the link on screen, or we have links down below or in our bio, so feel free to check that out. But that wraps up this review. Until next time, I'm Landon from Shoeware. Peace.